Okay, so today I'm going to talk about Christian Smalls, who is a big hero of mine. He got fired from Amazon way back for participating in a walkout, and he started a union at Amazon, the first union. He is the president and founder of the Amazon Labor Union since 2021. And when he started trying to make a union, Amazon saw that he had a high school education and thought they got lucky basically with him, that they could fight him easily because he didn't know anything. They had no idea who they were fucking with Christian Smalls. He's one of the best workers in America and one of the best people. Go watch the whole interview. I'm going to show some good parts of it, and really love this guy.
We didn't expect to win. We expected to really just punch Amazon in the face again and really show that we ain't backing down. And win or lose with these campaigns, just to have the opportunity to vote, that's already a victory. So we don't, I know the media and the outside community, they calculate, wins and losses.
Right.
But we're talking about workers. There's no loss for the worker. You only lose when you give up.
Is translatable. How much of that is translatable to other Amazon facilities? And then how much of that is translatable to other non-Amazon facilities, right? There's two sets of sort of questions there.
Yeah. So, with our campaign, of course, being a company like Amazon, we had to do it, just non-traditional and really play chess with them. I spent over 300 days at the bus stop, and I can't say how other campaigns are supposed to be designed, but that was a huge part of our victory. Me being at the bus stop while the inside crew, the current workers, were able to go inside and communicate with workers throughout the day and on break and before and after shift. Those few minutes every day were vital. And I think that just goes for any campaign. The only way you defeat the corporation is by having several conversations, not just one. And you have to be available for these workers when they're ready. It's not about when you're ready. It's about when the workers are ready. So we had workers walk past us with 2 to 3 months, didn't even say a word to us. But on that third month or fourth month or whenever, we were there. So it was just more of the longevity game, the long drawn out game, the calm, cool, collective route, showing workers that we care, earning their trust, building relationship up. Meanwhile, Amazon is just drilling, and really forcing workers to really be subjected to over 3,300 captive audiences that they didn't choose to be in. And that also helped facilitate workers towards the union, along with myself being arrested and the other demonizing tactics they used. Workers saw through all of that. They saw that, how could somebody that's being painted out to be so, ugly by the company be at the bus stop, taking time away from his children, his family, doing this. He doesn't even work here anymore, along with the other folks that are sacrificing their time away from their family. That bigger picture started to resonate more. Right. We know we wasn't going to beat Amazon by money. No amount of money in the world, can stop people when they come together, though. And that's what Amazon can't calculate. They can't calculate, and they still trying to figure out how did we defeat them. They look at a spreadsheet and they said, okay, we're going to have 100 captive audiences this week. We're going to spend X amount of dollars. We're going to bring in this amount of people. We're going to do this amount of propaganda. We look at people by individuals. And what we saw was, one worker not being accommodated for, another worker, same thing, just not being taken care of, not being heard. And we were there to listen. We were there to support them. And we also helped out in whatever way we could financially, paying medical bills, paying phone bills, cable bills, even the Uber ride to and from hospital or to and from work. It was the little details like that that mattered, and that still matters. Amazon will never care about little details like that. They only care about putting profits over people.
That the pandemic has created.
Well, the pandemic definitely put the world on a standstill. I think that was the reason why when I got fired, my story made, international news because nobody was working.
Yeah.
And on top of the fact that I was fired in New York City, I'm pretty sure if I was fired in Alabama, y'all wouldn't be talking to me right now.
Right.
And also, if it wasn't the pandemic, y'all wouldn't be talking to me right now. And there wouldn't be no Amazon labor union. So I just think the pandemic was a catalyst for advocacy for workers' rights. And it didn't matter whether you're unionizing or not. We were out there on the picket line just because of COVID-19, but it intertwined into other work-related issues, and now we're talking about a union now. So it was a start. The pandemic was a start and the catalyst, but I think we're now at a point in this country where workers realize that our value is a lot more than what we've been getting, especially being deemed as an essential worker. That means that we're a necessity. They need us, and they need to treat us as such and pay us as such.
So, okay. So I give you Marty Walsh's job, right? Tomorrow. Don't ask me how I managed to do this.
And you're the president.
I'm the president. I'm the president of the United States. You have Marty Walsh's job. Like, what structurally? Like, how do you fight that? Like, I mean, there's no way the National Labor Relations Board is going to have the staff at any point to go track down. Do you say, like, when you file this, you need to file with canceled checks for all these people? Or like, is it reporting requirements? Like, how do you fight against that?
Well, I see that's what I want to figure out myself. That's why I went down there and scheduled this private meeting. I want to understand his job as well.
Right.
And from my understanding, Congress sets this budget, and the budget is set. And for example, they can't take money from the airline industry and put it into the NLRB.
Right.
They can't move money, even though Trump did it. But for some reason, they can't move money from one entity to another government entity. And I'm like, well, in the meanwhile, if you don't do anything, these corporations are going to get away with murder, which they have. So I think Marty Walsh right now, his best fight, besides opening up OSHA investigations and, showing up to different demonstrations and talking about unions and, all of that stuff, the accountability aspect. You're the Secretary of Labor of the country. You need to get these CEOs into a room, one by one or as a group, as a whole, and sit them down and let them know, not even let them know, tell them to negotiate with their workers. Other countries, do this all the time.
Right.
Just left my office where I was talking to Norwegian Parliament, their council. They got way better laws that is national agreements, meaning that they only need 10% of any working industry to say they want a union. And after that 10% of the workforce say yes, that is it. They get that contract agreement, they sign off on it. The workers don't got to worry about nothing else. And they get a tax deductible for union dues at the end of the year. I just learned that 20 minutes ago. So it's like there's different things right across the border in Canada. They have something called a bargaining agreement where as soon as you win your election, that's it. Case closed, company come to the table. There is no appeal, go to the Supreme Court. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5. There's none of that.
We have a lot of instances in this country where people get unionized and then they don't get a contract for years and years.
Exactly.
Because the corporation is able to sort of like drag their feet and make it harms other unions. It harms that union. It makes the union look ineffective because they're fighting against doing that contract. I mean, a lot of what you're talking about is the National Labor Relations Act, which was set up 80 years ago, 90 years ago. I can't do the math at the moment. To essentially avoid things like wildcat strikes, avoid strikes across outside of within the context of industries, outside of shops. I mean, so much of the playing field was tilted towards corporations that on some level it's like it's always going to be an uphill battle until we get more like legislative support on some level.
Yeah. No, well, that's what we're up against as well. We're not just battling Amazon anymore. And I told that to my team even last year, before we even voted. You know, we were battling Amazon. We were battling the landowners and global matrix. We're battling global strategists, the union busting firm. We're battling the NYPD. So we're up against major bodies of companies, not just small companies and corporations. So our organizing efforts in this country, as far as the labor movement, we're the ones that have to push legislative. We're the ones that have to force these politicians to do their job. And a lot of established unions, unfortunately, and we all know, they endorse these politicians, they support these politicians, they do all of this stuff and don't get anything in return.
Right.
And, you know, I've obviously been calling them out. And that works. But it shouldn't just be the Amazon Labor Union and Starbucks Workers United. You know, we're talking about companies that have been around 28, 30 years. Where's the rest of these other union leaders at? It's time for them to take a stance and stop inviting these Democrats to their union conventions and endorsing them if they're not really living up to their campaign promises. And that's what it boils down to, accountability. And that starts with the unions, it starts with the politicians, and it starts with ourselves. You know, we gotta do this for ourselves. So, you know, hopefully our efforts with the ALU, getting to different spaces, myself traveling the country, inspiring and motivating people, that's what I'm trying to do. You know, wake everybody up saying like, hey, if we don't organize within this window of opportunity, I'm talking about before 2024 is around the corner. And we don't do anything now, this window of opportunity is gone. It's going to be a point of no return.
Just a few clips, and I pulled this from The Majority Report with Emma Vigeland and Sam Cedar. They do a show 5 days a week. Go watch it. I'm going to link to that, and have a good day.